What is up, guys? Zan from the Zan Madden YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to show you a stock route that gets a crazy release against the two-man under defensive meta. And if you set up other routes around it, this could leave the middle of the field wide open for an up-reform pass lead and chunk yardage. This tip is coming to you out of the Kansas City Chiefs offensive playbook, and this is out of the Trey Y Flex. You could also run the Trey Y Flex halfback strong, and the route that we're going to be looking at is the cross route. We're going to be looking right here at the one that is a little bit different, found in the play cross sit. And the reason that I like this is that this route gets a crazy unbump. It's not really an unbump, but it's a super win release off the line, to the point that this could be a quick pass option if your opponent's user is not there, or this will actually develop into a route that can be thrown and split the safeties with a little bit of freeform work. So let's go ahead and get into it here. We'll actually also break this down against zone at the tail end of the video, so make sure that you guys stick around. And before we do that, if you guys could do me a favor, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and drop a comment below to help push this video out in the YouTube algorithm. And if you guys want a little bit more, you guys can check out my full Kansas City Chiefs offensive game plan over on gridirongameplans.gg. We've got so much content on the website, over 70 vault tips at this point, 6 offensive and defensive game plans. You would never know that we're less than 2 months into this game. We are moving and grooving. Got freeform rocket catching seminars, which, by the way, kind of funny how that's starting to become talked about a little bit more in the community. But we're going to be talking here in this video about a route that I know I haven't seen out there this year. Let's kind of take a look at what this route does first and foremost against press coverage. And it really doesn't matter what type of press coverage, especially if you get cover 0, cover 1. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of play some robber style coverage or some buzz coverage here. You're going to note that this route here to Megatron in the middle of the field has a really interesting release. It's a hard inside release, and it almost always wins to that spot on the field. And with this, you get kind of a super win animation where he's going to accelerate, and this allows us to throw just a regular 12 o'clock freeform. And if there is no deep middle third in this area of the field, you're going to be out for an easy one-play score. So this is really good against cover 0 press if the user doesn't play it, or if you can occupy them long enough with a running back route in the flat. This is going to be a really useful route. Now, when it comes to two-man under, however, you're going to have these safeties that are in the way. Now, that's not to say that you still can't just snap the ball out of this play and freeform it up the field. You definitely can do that, but you see that that safety on the right can kind of get there. So what we need to do is we need to find a way to occupy the safety out of two-man under. And the best way that I'm going to tell you how to do this is probably to go ahead and create a motion to this side of the field, so that way you can get multiple routes attacking that deep sideline, which will fan out the right of screen safety up top. Now, at this point, when they play that press animation, you're going to see that you get that release, and you're going to be able to really throw this ball into this pocket. And even there, you saw right there that that safety kind of got in the way. So the key with this is really to make sure that you are trying to get as many people as possible over to that right sideline. Another tactic you might use is just use a corner route and a wheel route. I know this looks really silly, but the more routes you can have that attack or pull that safety, you might even use a fade to the outside tight end if he's not getting pressed. That way he gets into the route and can kind of stretch that safety vertically. But again, you're going to be able to throw this ball up into this area of the field, and that safety is not really going to be able to get there very easily. So this is a great little tactic that you guys can utilize against two-man under. And of course, you also have the ability, if you want, to utilize whips. Whips are great. So if you really want to use a Texas route, maybe an in route to your running back out of the backfield as a check down, and then have this whip route to Finneran, that's great because, as we know, whip routes kill man press, and you can throw them and rack them with the better rack animations, and you could probably pick up more yardage than I did right there on that play. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter what type of man coverage your opponent is in. If it doesn't have a middle third on the field, it's going to be really, really tough on them to make this happen. Now, of course, like I said, you do have the ability, if you wish, to kind of try to pull that safety over towards the right side. You know, in cover 1, he's going to be playing the dead middle of the field. That's just going to be the life that you live. But this does get such a good beat press animation that as long as the user is not in that area, like you kind of see they would be right there, you're going to be able to throw that ball. Now, again, the upside to this is that when you're talking about cover 1, where they are going to have zones in the middle of the field, you actually are going to have so much easier a time beating them with my free-forming seminars, my rocket catching tutorials. So one thing that I'm actually a big fan of doing here is I'll just run this play, and I'll use a regular fade route. to Finneran. I know this sounds really, silly, but again, the key with this is just to kind of let him get off that route, and then I could throw, these free form animations and rocket catch these against man coverage. Right there, he actually beat the press, and I should have just lobbed it for a touchdown. But nonetheless, you're not always going to get that animation. Your player's not always going to be glowing, and you're going to be able to throw those. So if you guys want to learn how to rocket catch, free form, all the throws in the game, you guys need to go check it out. It's on Gridiron in our game plan. One thing that I want you guys to also do against two-man under, if your opponent is not pressuring you, is utilize the running back, because when your opponent is playing two-man under press, they cannot jam this running back. You'll actually note that they have to trail out there and follow him in the two-man under. This free release to the running back is going to make that safety on the right have to play closer to the sideline. This is going to be a big deal because now I can mesh underneath. I can run double whips with my B and my A receiver. I can do whatever I want, and this middle of the field is going to be so tender off this beat press animation that happens nearly every time that I could lead this player into a rack catch up the field. And this is going to be a very useful tip for you guys. So again, floating that running back out to flanker is going to help you out significantly because they cannot jam him without giving up free releases to pretty much everyone else on the field. So the whole point of two-man under is to play that jam technique and stay underneath. This is going to help us out in a big way against that particular coverage. Now, of course, I did mention as well that we are going to be talking about how to utilize this tactic against zone. Kind of goes without saying, we know how to run crossing routes in this year's game. This is a great route. You're just going to run off the deep shell down the sideline. That sit route is actually fantastic. If you wanted to, you could kind of swing the running back out to that flat on this play. You could leave the crossing route in behind. You could go ahead and run a streak down the sideline if you think that you have a one-on-one opportunity, whatever it is you want. But in general, you're going to see here that this crossing route is going to get into a nice area of the field where you can throw this, and it's behind the hook zones and underneath of the deep zones. And of course, because you have Shannon Sharp running down the right side of the field, he clears out all of those deep zones. So if you get anybody that likes to run, a heavy, cover 4 style defense, I'll kind of makeshift that real quick for you guys. If you get somebody that runs something resembling, this as a cover 4, you're also going to be in a spot with this where that runoff route down the sideline with Sharp can carry not only an inside quarter, but also an outside quarter. So I would actually recommend that you guys go ahead and still utilize this route. So again, hold on to the ball. I kind of spied the rush here so you can see how this develops. You're going to see that late in the play, I'm going to be able to throw that. Now right there, I left a mid read on the field, which you would never find in a cover 4, so you don't have to worry about that. Obviously, if the user follows you, throw the check down in the middle of the field, which is what we would have absolutely done here on this play. I mean, this route right here, if the user bites back on the crosser, you're either going to hit the in route or you're going to hit the check down in the middle of the field, provided that they're not spying their entire defensive line on this tip. So there you guys have it. This is the crossing route. It does a really, really good job of beating your cover 0 press. Also really, really good against the two-man under. I hope you guys like this tip. It's a very simple concept. I know that it seems almost super mundane, but again, just run off the safety. You can get a line, if you can get that running back down the sideline against two-man under, that's going to pull that safety all the way towards the right sideline, and that's going to open up the deep middle of the field off of this beat press animation for us to throw this and split those safeties. So make sure that you guys check that out. That is a very important tip for beating the two-man under. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys on Monday. Until then, this is Zan. Get the lab in. Good luck.